In a world where borders once blurred and trade flowed like a river, a storm brews on the horizon. Tariffs and sanctions claw at the very fabric of global supply chains, forcing nations to choose between cooperation and isolation. As the policy of decoupling takes root, inflation creeps into the heart of economies, threatening to ignite a crisis that will echo through generations. This is not just a battle for commerce, it is a fight for the future of global stability itself. In the aftermath of the Cold War, globalization emerged as a powerful force, intertwining economies across continents and fostering unprecedented interdependence. However, as nations grapple with rising tensions and shifting alliances, the once seamless flow of goods has unraveled, revealing the fragility of these intricate supply chains. Tariffs and sanctions have become tools of geopolitical strategy, igniting a new era of economic warfare that reverberates throughout the global marketplace. As nations grapple with the repercussions of tariffs and sanctions, the interconnected web of global supply chains is experiencing an unprecedented upheaval. In a world where economic alliances once flourished, the policy of decoupling emerges as a response to rising geopolitical tensions, fundamentally altering the landscape of international trade. This seismic shift is not just a matter of policy, but a historical pivot that echoes through the corridors of commerce, igniting inflationary pressures that ripple through economies worldwide. As the world entered the 21st century, globalization wove a tapestry of interconnected economies, each thread representing a delicate balance of trade and cooperation. However, with the rise of tariffs and sanctions, this intricate design began to fray, leading nations to reconsider their dependencies. The policy of decoupling emerged as a radical shift, a deliberate severing of ties that echoed the lessons of history, where isolationism had often bred economic turmoil. In the shadows of this transformation, inflationary pressures began to mount, revealing the fragility of a system long reliant on seamless supply chains. As nations turned inward, the once seamless web of global trade frayed at the edges, giving rise to a new era defined by tariffs and sanctions. This policy of decoupling represents not just a fracture in international relations, but a profound shift in economic philosophy, echoing the protectionist sentiments of the past. From the ashes of globalization, a new landscape emerged, one where the balance between self-sufficiency and interdependence hangs precariously in the balance. As nations grapple with the relentless waves of tariffs and sanctions, the intricate web of global supply chains begins to fray. The policy of decoupling emerges as a double-edged sword, severing ties that once bound economies together, while igniting a fierce battle for resources. With each passing day, inflationary pressures mount, tightening their grip on the consumer price index, and the stakes rise ever higher. In this volatile landscape, the consequences of decoupling ripple through markets, threatening to unravel the very fabric of international cooperation. As nations grapple with the consequences of decoupling, a palpable tension fills the air, thickening the stakes for economies worldwide. Tariffs and sanctions, once mere political tools, have evolved into seismic shifts that reverberate through supply chains, igniting inflationary pressures that threaten to unravel the fabric of global commerce. The delicate equilibrium that once defined international trade is now hanging by a thread, as each decision ripples through markets and households alike, pushing the cost of living to unprecedented heights. As nations grapple with the consequences of tariffs and sanctions, the fabric of global trade begins to fray. The policy of decoupling, initially seen as a safeguard, now casts a shadow of uncertainty over economies worldwide, igniting inflationary pressures that ripple through supply chains. With each new measure, the stakes rise, pitting allies against adversaries in a high-stakes game where the cost of inaction could spell disaster. If you find this video insightful, please consider subscribing to support this channel. In this crucible of change, the fragile balance of power teeters on the edge, threatening to reshape the global landscape forever. As nations recalibrate their strategies in the wake of tariffs and sanctions, a new geopolitical chess game unfolds. The policy of decoupling not only fractures long-standing alliances, but ignites fierce rivalries, each move fraught with implications for global stability. Leaders navigate a delicate dance, wielding power with precision as inflationary pressures ripple through economies, tightening their grip on the very fabric of society. In this high-stakes arena, the stakes have never been higher, and the game is far from over. As nations navigate the treacherous waters of economic warfare, the strategic decoupling of supply chains emerges as a bold gambit in the geopolitical arena. Tariffs and sanctions become weapons in a high-stakes game, reshaping alliances and rivalries alike. Each move is calculated as countries scramble to assert dominance while grappling with the inflationary repercussions that ripple through their economies. In this relentless struggle for power, the very fabric of global trade is woven with tension and uncertainty. As nations maneuver through the treacherous waters of economic warfare, the stakes have never been higher. Strategic alliances shift like sand, with each tariff and sanction echoing through the corridors of power. In this high-stakes game, the policy of decoupling not only reshapes trade routes, but ignites rivalries. As global leaders vie for dominance while inflationary pressures tighten their grip on the common man, the world watches, holding its breath, as the balance of power teeters on the edge of a knife. As nations grapple with the consequences of decoupling, the very fabric of global supply chains begins to fray. Tariffs and sanctions, once mere economic tools, morph into weapons of inflation, igniting a firestorm that threatens to engulf consumers worldwide. In this pivotal moment, the balance of power shifts, revealing the fragility of interconnected economies and the stark reality of a new, uncertain era. As nations grapple with the ramifications of decoupling, the fragile threads of global supply chains begin to fray, unveiling the stark reality. The very policies intended to foster independence are now igniting a fierce inflationary fire. Prices surge, and the consumer price index reflects the turmoil, signaling a decisive turning point in the global economy. The delicate balance of trade, once a symbol of cooperation, now teeters on the edge of chaos, threatening to reshape our world in ways we are only beginning to understand. As nations grapple with the fallout of decoupling, the specter of inflation looms large, tightening its grip on economies worldwide. The ripple effects of disrupted supply chains manifest in rising prices, eroding purchasing power and igniting unrest among citizens. In this crucible of change, markets tremble under the weight of uncertainty, as the delicate balance of trade shifts irrevocably, leaving a profound impact on the lives of everyday people. As nations sever ties and reevaluate dependencies, the ripple effects resonate far beyond boardrooms and trading floors. Inflation tightens its grip, squeezing households and eroding purchasing power, while industries scramble to adapt to a new reality wrought by tariffs and sanctions. These seismic shifts not only redefine markets but also reshape the very fabric of societies, leaving millions grappling with uncertainty in an increasingly fragmented world. As we stand on the precipice of a new economic landscape, the reverberations of tariffs and sanctions remind us that the interconnectedness of our world is both a strength and a vulnerability. The policy of decoupling may serve as a shield against geopolitical tensions, yet it casts a long shadow of inflation that threatens the very fabric of our daily lives. In this intricate dance of supply chains and policies, we must ponder the future. Will we embrace collaboration to foster resilience, or will we retreat into isolation, paying the price in both prosperity and progress? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next documentary.